All right, happy Friday. Woohoo! It is Voorhees Wear Your Spirit Colors Day. And remember, we will be parading at 10 o'clock today, so come on out and say hi. General announcements besides the parade. Next week, the next packet will be available. I didn't think they were going to pass them out until after spring break. They're actually going to do it next week. Plus, there will be Chromebooks available for checkout. One Chromebook per family. So there will be information coming out. Make sure your parents are paying attention to anything that's coming from Bakersfield City School District. It's really important not to ignore those messages, emails, or whatnot. So get on board with that, and you can have some technology at home and the other things. Other than that, I'm really pleased to see that AR is working at home. You just have to take your test between 8 and 3. Go through your BCSD through the apps. Go to bcsd.com. Go to the student applications. You can find Renaissance right there. Boom, it works. Matthew showed me today that it's working. It's calculating your points, no problem. It was really nice having a Zoom review with you yesterday. That was awesome. And let's talk about the packets days 9 and 10. First of all, this beast of a question. I got this far and got stuck. So I promise that once I find the solution, I'm going to put it in Google Classroom and say, I found the solution. It's kind of ridiculous. There's just a few more pages of math left in the packet, in this first packet. So the first one, I just randomly grabbed them. So if your guys' are in order, good for you. Mine have never been in order. So the first one is writing algebraic expressions, which is right where we left off before we went. One more ball than's on the playground. So that's like ball plus 1. That simple. Just take a look at how to do those. I mean, remember, it's a reading thing, and you're trying to translate from English into algebra. Let's see, what else do we have? Exam scores. Alyssa took a math test with 20 questions and she answered 16 correctly. In order to get an A, she needs to get at least 90%. Did Alyssa get an A? Well, she got a 16 out of 20. That breaks down to a 4 out of 5 because I want to deal with numbers that are easy for me. 5 goes into 4 8 times. Did she get a 90%? No, she got an 80%. That works to justify your answers. How many questions would Alyssa need to answer correctly in order to get an A? Well, 16, it has to be more than 16. I would probably jump to the next even answer and go 18 out of 20, which is the same as 9 out of 10. I can tell you right now, remember percent land? Just add the zeros. Boom, there you go. On the same exam, Alyssa's friend Jessie answered 3 times more questions correct than incorrect. Who got a higher percentage of the test questions correct, Alyssa or Jessie? 3 times more questions correct. I'm still thinking Alyssa probably did that one right because she can't get 16 times 3 questions. That's kind of crazy. There is a page about punctuating and dialogue. If you have a text at home, just figure out, see what a dialogue looks like and kind of add it to that. Graphing on the coordinate plane. Use that graph and label. Graph and label here. And then they tell you to do things like reflecting on the X and Y axis. Remember, that's the X, that's the Y. If you're reflecting, say you got a thing here and you're going to reflect across the X, your X's are going to stay the same, your Y's are going to change signs. If you're reflecting against the Y, your Y's are going to stay the same, your X's are going to change signs. Same numbers, it's just all about the sign change. Then we have another one of these fun little questions. A juice recipe calls for 5 cups of grape juice for every 2 cups of peach juice. 5 cups grape for 2 cups peach. How many cups of grape juice are needed for a batch that uses 8 cups of peach? Okay, I think we know what to do here. 2 times what is 8? Do that same number over here, and you've got it. Simple. All right. And then we're back to this beast. I will work on it because that's driving me crazy. All right, so we've got that. Other things. I think that's about it. Pay attention to next week. Tuesday for sure, our cafeteria people and yours truly will be passing out food. So we'll be there, but I'm not going to post any new videos next week. So you and your parents need to pay attention to Chromebook checkout, packet pickup, and all that kind of stuff. It sounds like packet pickup is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. So get those packets so you've got stuff to keep you busy. And if you think, oh, it's not that big of a deal, I'll just forget and all the rest, there's going to be another packet after that. So keep yourselves busy because all those packets are going to get turned back in, and it's like, I need to see what's going on. There's also questions about what to do with my material, like my books and things that you guys took home. I'm going to talk to Mr. Casais about maybe towards the end of the school year, we have like boxes with names and your parents can drop and we can plunk them, and then I can take them to my room. I am not allowed in my room. I am not really, the only thing I can do on campus is help out with meal distribution. So we're not just sitting in our room. As you can tell, I sit in my office all day. That's what I do. So, all right, so we've got that. We've got math, parade later today. Now, I'm going to start Percy chapter 6. I am going to give you until Tuesday, April 15th, to finish this chapter, just chapter 6. It's a little long, but not at the same time. You've got plenty of days that you can sit and work, but it kind of tells you what's going on with Grover a little bit. So we're going to start chapter 6, Demon Pigeons Attack. For the next few days were torture, just like Tantalus wanted. First, there was Tyson moving into Poseidon cabin, giggling to himself every 15 seconds, saying, "Percy is my brother," like he had just won the lottery. "Ah, Tyson," I'd say, "it's not that simple." But there was no explaining it to him. He was in heaven, and me, as much as I like the big guy, I couldn't help feeling embarrassed, ashamed. There, I said it. My father, the all-powerful Poseidon, had gotten moony-eyed for some nature spirit, and Tyson had been the result. I mean, I'd read about the myths about Cyclops. I even remembered they were often Poseidon's children. But I never really processed that this made them my family until I had Tyson live with me in the next bunk. And then there were the comments from the other campers. Suddenly, I wasn't Percy Jackson the cool guy who retrieved Zeus's lightning bolt last summer. Now I was Percy Jackson, the poor schmuck with the ugly monster for a brother. "He's not my real brother," I protested whenever Tyson wasn't around. "He's more like a half-brother on the monstrous side of the family, like a half-brother twice removed or something." Nobody bought it. I admit, I was angry at my dad. I felt like being his son was now a joke. Annabeth tried to make me feel better. She suggested we team up for the chariot race to take our minds off our problems. Don't get me wrong, we both hated Tantalus and we were worried sick about camp, but we didn't know what to do about it. Until we could come up with some brilliant plan to save Talia's tree, we figured we might as well go along with the races. After all, Annabeth's mom, Athena, had invented the chariot, and my dad created horses. Together, we would own that track. One morning, Annabeth and I were sitting by the canoe lake sketching chariot designs when some jokers from Aphrodite's cabin walked by and asked me if I needed to borrow some eyeliner for my eye. "Oh, sorry, eyes." And as they walked away laughing, Annabeth grumbled, "Just ignore them, Percy. It isn't your fault you have a monster for a brother." "He's not your brother," I snapped, "and he's not a monster either." Annabeth raised her eyebrows. Hey, don't get mad at me. And technically he is a monster, which you gave permission to enter the camp because it was the only way to save your life. I mean, I'm sorry, Percy. I didn't expect Poseidon to claim him. Cyclops are the most deceitful, treacherous. He is not. What have you got against Cyclops anyway? Annabeth's ears turned pink. I got the feeling there was something she wasn't telling me. Something bad. Just forget it, she said. Now, the axle for this chariot, you're treating him like he's this horrible thing. I said, he saved my life. Annabeth threw down her pencil and stood. Then maybe you should design a chariot with him. Maybe I should. Fine, fine. She stormed off and left me feeling even worse than before. The next couple of days, I tried to keep my mind off my problems. Selena Beauregard, one of the nicer girls from Aphrodite's cabin, gave me my first riding lesson on a Pegasus. She explained that there was only one immortal winged horse named Pegasus, who still wandered free somewhere in the skies. But over the eons, he had sired a lot of children, none quite so fast or heroic, but all named after the first and the greatest. Being the son of the sea god, I never liked going into the air. My dad had a rivalry with Zeus, and I tried to stay out of the Lord of the Sky's domain as much as possible. But riding a winged horse felt different. It didn't make me nearly as nervous as being in an airplane. Maybe that was because my dad had created horses out of sea foam, so the Pegasi were sort of neutral territory. I could understand their thoughts. I wasn't surprised when my Pegasus went galloping over the treetops or chased a flock of seagulls into a cloud. The problem was that Tyson wanted to ride the chicken ponies too, but the Pegasi got skittish whenever he approached. I told them telepathically that Tyson wouldn't hurt them, but they didn't seem to believe me, and that made Tyson cry. The only person at camp who had no problem with Tyson was Beckendorf from the Hephaestus cabin. The blacksmith god had always worked with Cyclops in his forges, so Beckendorf took Tyson down to the armory to teach him metalworking. He said he'd have Tyson crafting magic items like a master in no time. After lunch, I worked out in the arena with Apollo's cabin. Swordplay had always been my strength. People said I was better at it than any camper in the last 100 years except maybe Luke. People always compared me to Luke. I thrashed the Apollo guys easily. I should be testing myself against Ares and Athena cabin, since they had the best sword fighters. But I didn't get along with Clarice and her siblings after my argument with Annabeth. I just didn't want to see her. I went to archery class even though I was terrible at it, and I wasn't the same without Chiron teaching. In arts and crafts, I started a marble bust of Poseidon, but it started looking like Sylvester Stallone, so I ditched it. I scaled the climbing wall with full lava and earthquake mode, and in the evenings I did border patrol. Even though Tantalus had insisted we forget trying to protect the camp, some of the campers had quietly kept it up, working out a schedule during our free time. I sat on the top of Half-Blood Hill and watched the dryads come and go, singing to their dying pine tree. Satyrs brought their reed pipes and played nature magic songs, and for a while the pine needles seemed to get fuller. The flowers on the hills smelled a little sweeter and the grass looked greener, but as soon as the magic stopped, the sickness crept back into the air. The whole hill seemed to be infected, dying from the poison that had sunk into the tree's roots. The longer I sat there, the angrier I got. Luke had done this. I remember his sly smile, the dragon claw scars across his face. He pretended to be my friend the whole time he'd been Cronus's #1 servant. I opened the palm of my hand. The scar Luke had given me last summer was fading, but I could still see it. A white asterisk-shaped wound where his pit scorpion had stung me. I thought about what Luke had told me right before he tried to kill me. Goodbye, Percy. There's a new golden age coming, and you won't be part of it. So that's part 1. I will do part 2 later on and put it up tonight, but I have got to get things going for this morning. So that's it for right now. I hope to see you guys on the parade route today, and just keep in touch. Remember, you can always get me through Dojo or Google Classroom. And pick up your stuff next week and then chill. All right. So that's it for now. Peace out.